This is Xiomara Portillio. She's a friend of mine and she's a student at Towson.
Hello.
What language does your family use at home?
Spanish.
Only Spanish?
Yep.
Okay. When did you begin learning English?
I began learning English when I was in kindergarten in Montgomery County Public Schools.
Okay. So you started when you were in school, so you didn't speak before?
No.
Okay. Did your teacher know that you didn't speak English when you started?
I don't think she was aware because I mimicked a lot of movies when I was younger.
Mhm.
And so I probably picked up on how the English language accent works. And so I guess she felt that she didn't need to help me as much.
So she wasn't aware because you blended in really well?
Yep, somewhat.
Uh-huh.
What challenges did you face when you were in school?
Aside from an academic challenge, I also struggled socially. So, first of all, I didn't really perform as well as I would wanted to. Sorry. And I didn't necessarily ask for help because I was shy of how my teachers would have responded to me. I didn't feel comfortable asking for help. I just did things on my own, and that made things worse. And so I kept feeling like I was being left behind.
So what were your grades like in elementary school?
Terrible. No, I had mostly B's. A lot of them were C's, and a couple were D's when I was in elementary school. But overall, it was on-level performance.
Now that you speak English, how are your grades?
Ooh, much better. I have improved so much. My experience from kindergarten all the way to college. So right now I have a 3.5 GPA. So.
And when did it really start turning around for you?
I think around middle school, because I've noticed that the only way I could help my mother, because around that time my parents split, and so I figured like the only thing I could make my mom happy was with good grades, and so I decided to work hard, and eventually I saw results, and I've been improving since then.
Okay. So you were able to apply yourself enough that you were able to get those grades you wanted?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever felt discriminated against because of the language that you speak?
Not necessarily, because there was a large Latino community where I lived. There was also a lot of kids who were Latinos, so I didn't really feel personally discriminated against because it was normal to see the customs and cultures of that community. But what I did notice was that through other ethnic groups, they didn't treat them so nicely because they didn't see them very often. For example, I remember there was an a child from India that came in, and he was made fun of his accent and his head wrap because it was very new to them. They'd never seen that. And so they would pick on him the whole time.
Okay, and that was the general school community was making fun of, even though there was a lot of Hispanic people in that school, a lot of ethnic communities in that school, because it was a minority ethnic group in your school, he was the one that was made fun of?
Mm-hmm, basically.
Okay. But you do think that you went to a minority school where you felt the minority groups, what we would call a minority group in the U.S., is more like the norm in your area?
Yes.
Where you grew up? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still speak Spanish at home?
Of course.
And do you think that it's an important part of your life?
Most definitely. It's something that I identify with as like a Salvadoran American.
Mm-hmm. So do you use it a lot outside of the home also?
Yep. Because, there's a large, the Latino population is growing every day, and I felt that it's been important to be able to help and communicate with those who need it.
How do you think that teachers can help a student that's in the position that you were in when you were in elementary school?
I think it's important to be aware of the small cues that they give up first, because just noticing those small things at first could help a lot and prevent problems coming on later on.
What kinds of cues?
Like,
What cues
just
did you give?
like, for instance, my language cues weren't as clear, but the fact that I was struggling on certain things wasn't just because like I didn't understand the material. I didn't understand it at all because I didn't understand the language. So those kinds of things, it's better to prevent them before they become a problem later on.
Okay, so basically teachers should examine why their student isn't doing well to
Yes.
see if maybe it's not the material necessarily, but maybe there's
Exactly.
a language barrier.
Yes.
Okay. What did you do to become more confident in English?
I think what helped the most was, actually my dad wasn't even aware of it, or maybe he was, but he would take me to the library, our local library, and he would check out these picture books that came with audio tapes. And so I would listen to them a lot and follow along with the narration, and I think that helped me cope with the language barrier.
Okay. Do you think it would have been helpful to have programs like Rosetta Stone or like other things like that to help you learn the language?
Yes, most definitely. Like the little things that my father used to do with going to the library, those helped a lot. But
What
then,
kinds of things?
like the picture books and the audio recordings,
Okay.
like following along with that English language. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that there are so many free resources out there in the library. Because I remember growing up with Inglés Sin Barreras, that was more towards the Latino community.
Would you translate the title of that?
It was called English Without Barriers.
Okay.
So it was very popular back in the day for Spanish speakers to learn English, but it was somewhat pricey, and most people coming from their country can't really afford that. It was kind of like the Rosetta Stone for Spanish speakers.
So there are resources at the library that you can use to learn languages?
Yep, definitely. I know I'm using one right now, Mango. It's an app and an online program that you have to log in with the library that helps learn not only English and these other languages, but also other languages as well. And there are other like free classes and where to go. The community can go and look that up and see where they could go in for a free class.
Okay. So there's a lot of different things at the library. So as long as
Yes.
you go there knowing that they have those things and you can use them.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
That's great.
Yeah, I think so too.
Thanks for coming out and talking to me. It means a lot that you shared your perspective.
No problem, happy to help. And this also helped me realize what I can do to help my future students. So thank you.
Of course.